There we go. Little Brian Tracy. Little Brian Tracy this morning. Hey, these are things you know. These are things you know. I know. Right? We've been saying them over and over again. But are we doing what we know? Do we have the vision written down? What did he conclude with? He concluded with the fact that we need a vision, a crystal clear vision. How crystal clear is your vision of what you want to make happen, of where you want to go, of what life looks like up ahead? God gave it to you exactly how you drew it up. Do you have a vision of what that looks like in your health, in your relationships, in your financial life, in your spiritual life, what you do for fulfillment? Are we clear on the vision? That's where it all starts. I will reiterate that over and over and over again to you because the more I sit down with people, the more I have these conversations, the more I realize people just don't know exactly what they want. They have a version of what they thought they might have wanted 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They have a version of what they think their parents would want from them or what their spouse would want from them or what society says deems as successful, whatever that looks like for them, but they don't truly know what they want out of this thing. And the moment that we get there is the moment that things start opening up. So, number one, ladies and gentlemen, write down your goals, write down your dreams, get clear on exactly what you want. The second thing that he talked about is again being able to focus on that vision morning, noon, and night. Any idea, plan, goal, anything that we hold in our minds that we continue to focus on, that we continue to think about, becomes reality. As a man thinketh, right? Like this is the thesis behind that saying, right? Anything that you think about long term, that you hold conviction for, that you continue to see and paste in your brain, has to come into reality. It's the way that it goes. The problem is we're not focused on the things we want. We're focused on the things we don't want. We're not always focused on the things that we have. We're focused on the things we don't have. And when our brain gets locked in on that, that brings us more of it. It brings us more lack. It brings us more adversity. It brings us more of all those things. Hey, Robert, good to see you, man. But that's the key, right? Is fixing your focus so that you're focused on the things you do want, that vision, that goal, those plans, not focused on the things that we don't want. The ill health, the poverty, the lack, like that stuff fills the mind. Even if you're telling yourself, I don't want that, you're focused on that. You're focused on it. You get more of it. It happens in the financial space a lot when people become debt free, when they focus so much on debt, debt, right? It's their focus instead of the wealth building side. They just focus on debt. Inevitably, if they get out of debt, they get right back into debt because that's just what they focused on so long that their brain waves just keep going towards that side of things. Even if they're saying, I want to be out of it, the brain doesn't know the difference. So that's the key. You got to write down what you want and then you got to focus on what you want. Let your conscious mind influence, right? Or let your subconscious mind influence your conscious mind so that you can start to manifest, so you can start to get the things that your mind is focused on. You got to stay aware of this stuff, ladies and gentlemen, because this is the stuff that allows you to get to the life that you don't need a break from. That last quote that was on there, it said the source and center of all man's creative power is his power of making images or the power of imagination, right? Just being able to put it up here in our mind and then make it become a reality. There's a lot of things that I could have looked at in our 177 mental toughness secrets of the world class. We could have looked at some different areas. Let me see if I can. There we go. There you go, Sparkle. The one thing he talked about was solitude. There's a chapter in there that talks about right the world class seeks solitude. So this is a big part. We've heard Dr. Joe Dispenza talk about it. You're hearing Brian Tracy talk about it. We see it in our text, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets. How often are we seeking solitude? How often are we seeking quiet time to hear the still small voice like Brian Tracy just talked about? For those of you that hear God, God whispers, right? He's not very loud. It's a whisper. So how quiet do you get so you can hear that voice? Is this a part of your habits? Is this a part of your routine on a daily basis, on a weekly basis? How often are you seeking solitude? Because Brian Tracy said that's the number one way. It works 100% of the time for you to start to focus on the things you want, to get your right, to understand what you're hearing so you can allow yourself to follow your intuition of what you've heard, of what you believe to be true, what you believe is right. But how often are you getting quiet in your life? How often are you taking that 30 to 60 minutes? I tell you 20 minutes at the beginning of your day, but how often are you getting 30 to 60 minutes? 30 to 60 just to be quiet, just to slow down, just to meditate, just to hear the still small voice, not to get all of the our senses moving with things we hear and smell and see and do and like none of that, just quiet. How often are you seeking that? I would challenge all of you and I would encourage all of you to seek that more often, to seek that side more often. Seek the solitude, seek the quiet, seek the still small voice that's helping you get to the life that you want. But you got to get quiet. You got to get quiet in order to hear it. The one thing I did want to point out in our text, 177 mental toughness secrets of the world class, Brian Tracy talked about you getting this energy, right? This feeling of elation when you get the idea, when the answer comes to you, when you've sat quietly, when you've listened, and now you can hear it and you got that idea, you got that answer. It solves everything. That energy that comes with it is what allows you to make it happen. It's what allows you to keep going, gets you excited, gets you inspired, gets you motivated. Well, that's an energy. And we got to understand, I've said this before, but you got to remember, it takes energy to go after your goals and dreams. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it takes energy to go after your goals and dreams. The reason Brian Tracy talked about, hey, if you sit in silence and then all of a sudden that idea comes, that answer comes, it brings an energy. It comes with the energy it takes to see that thing through. It comes with the energy it takes to see that thing through. Well, guess what? If you want to see your life through, if you want to see your finances change, your health change, your spiritual life change, it's going to require energy in order to do that. If we're always out of energy, if we're always depleted of our energy, if we're always tired, if we're always mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically tired, if we don't have energy, it's really hard to get to the life that we want. And what it says here in the text, one of the chapters said the great ones manifest energy. The great ones manifest it like we know how to create energy. Do you know how to create energy in your life? Do you know how to create energy to get you excited towards where you're going? It's important that you learn how to do this, whether it's coming from being silent, being in solitude, or whether it comes from you learning how you personally get energy. You got to figure this one out if we're going to get to the life we don't need a break from. Here's what it says. It says the engine behind every great champion's success is energy in three forms: physical, mental, and spiritual. All those energies, physical, mental, and spiritual energy. Because the world class operates from a love and abundance based consciousness, they appear to have almost boundless energy. At a lower level, the masses operate from fear, the biggest energy sucker known to man. Love attracts energy, fear consumes it. Say that again. Love attracts energy, fear consumes it. Is it any wonder average people are tired and worn out half the time? The masses consciously deplete their own energy. Champions create energy through their thoughts, and their thoughts produce feelings that reinforce their belief that everything happens for a reason. The great ones believe they are destiny's darlings, that they were born to win. No matter how bad things get, they believe the universe is conspiring to help them. This belief in universal favor becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and attracts all three forms of energy. This pattern creates a psychological tidal wave of momentum that drives performers beyond normal limits of energy. In contrast, middle class performers think thoughts and manifest feelings rooted in fear, which drains energy and attracts additional fear. The masses suffer physically, mentally, and spiritual fatigue from their own thought processes. They are the architects of their own destruction, even though they are completely capable of redesigning their consciousness. By natural law, energy is created or consumed by thought. and the great ones choose to create it. Your thoughts is what creates the energy. Your thoughts are what create the life that you're going to live, the energy that you put behind your life. So, having success in these three areas of energy: physical energy, mental energy, spiritual energy. Physical energy that has to do with your actual physical health, your physical health, the things that you do to bring energy. I'm so grateful that it's getting warmer out because the sun gives me energy. I spend time outside in the sun because I know that gives me energy. You know what takes my have you ever doom scrolled on social or doom scrolled on YouTube or something for 2 hours, for an hour and a half? Do you have more energy afterwards or less energy? You know you have less energy. You don't feel ready to go attack the world after you've just scrolled and watched a screen for an hour, hour and a half. Different, different than when you go off and you take a walk or you're by the beach or you're by the water, right? It brings energy. The thoughts that you start to have about what is possible, about opportunities, about all those things brings you energy. But anyway, the physical side has to do with what you eat, what you put in your body, how you move your body. We need physical energy to go after our dreams. Mental energy, that's this stuff, this mental toughness stuff. Most people are mentally drained. You're so tired after you get off of work, we just binge on whatever to get ourselves what? To calm our brain down. We're tired of thinking. We have less mental energy. So that's why we have to build this mental toughness so you have more mental energy, more capacity to handle things that are mentally a struggle or mentally stressful or mentally can be a lot. You need more capacity to handle that stuff if you want to go off and design your ideal life. That's the mental energy part. The spiritual energy, getting fulfillment from your higher power, from God, from your source. The spiritual energy needed to run this race. All three of these forms of energy are needed for you to go off and get to the life that you want: physical, mental, and spiritual. So, question: how much are you working on this? How much is this in your day to day that you're working on? Your physical, mental, and spiritual energy. How much are you finding out the things that give you energy versus the things that take away your energy, mentally, physically, spiritually? What adds energy to your spiritual life? What takes away energy? These are things you have to become aware of if you want to get to that next level, ladies and gentlemen. Because again, it says here the masses, they have they're attracted, they're attracting fear into their life. They're having the mental energy being taken up by fearful things, by what the masses hear, by the news, by social media, by the economy, by the war, by all the things. We're letting our mental energy be taken, so it derails us from the life that we want to get to. We're operating out of fear. Most people operate out of fear, scarcity, lack, those things. They take energy away. How can you practice the other side this week? How can you practice the other side today? To say, no, I'm going to focus on the love and abundance side of things. I'm going to move my energy towards the hopeful side of things, the things that are good, the things that are pleasing. That's where I'm moving my energy so that it's not consumed by fear. You have to ask yourself these questions, ladies and gentlemen, and you have to keep practicing this type of stuff because this is how we get to the life that we don't need to break from. It comes down to your ability to manifest your energy in physical, mental, and spiritual ways, getting solitude, getting quiet, breaking away from the noise, cutting the noise out, getting away and listening to that still small voice. It's going to bring you energy. That's what is needed, y'all. It says here in this quote, it says the real difference between men is energy. A strong will, a settled purpose, and invisible determination can accomplish almost anything. And in this lies the distinction between great men and little men, right? It's just one of those things where you start to understand what really is going to help you get to the life that you don't need a break from. What's really going to help you get to the place where you have life exactly where you want it is your ability to manage your thoughts so it manages your the feelings that are being produced, and those feelings are leading you to things that are bringing you energy, that are giving you that elation, that are helping you say every morning you wake up, man, I'm ready to attack today. It's not, oh, another day. Oh, I gotta muster up. It's just that one foot in front of the right. Like those words don't have us being as energized and intentional as we need to be. So write your vision down, make sure it's clear, make sure you're reading it every single day, every night. Paste that thing on your brain, what you want to make happen. And let's go work on our physical, mental, and spiritual energy. Are we doing things every day, every week that are bringing us energy in those areas? Or are we doing things that's taking energy away? It's important that you be aware of this because this is what helps you get to the life you don't need a break from. The action step for today says be aware of the thoughts you have and ask yourself if they are creating or consuming energy. Are the thoughts you have creating energy in you? They're getting you excited, or are they consuming energy from you? Just for today, allow only energy generating thoughts to occupy your mind. Allow only energy generating thoughts to occupy your mind. Notice the physical, mental, and spiritual impact it has on you. This is how we learn. This is how we grow. This is how we get better. It's by tweaking these little things, becoming aware of the areas that are taking our energy, and then starting to put into place some systems, some habits, some thought processes that are going to help us attain more energy, attract more energy, bring more of the good stuff into our life, shift our perspective, shift our thinking so it brings more of the things that we want and not more of the things that we don't want. I know, easier said than done. Easier said than done. No one said this process was going to be easy, y'all. No one said it was going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. The fact that you're continuing to push, continuing to learn, continuing to step out of your comfort zone, continuing to grow, continuing to become the man or woman God called you to be. It's going to require you to get better. It's going to require you to stretch. It's going to require you to change. But I know you guys are up for it. You're here on the journey. I'm proud of you guys. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. If nobody tells you, I constantly tell you, constantly remind you that you deserve to win. People are counting on you to take this information and do something with it. It could be your children. It could be your spouse. It could be your extended family. It could be the coworkers you have not yet met. I'm not quite sure, but people are counting on you to take this and to build the capacity in you to handle the life that you're asking for. Pull those people along with you, put them on your back, and say, let's go climb this mountain together, y'all. I love you guys. Enjoy your Monday. Do something that scares you. Do something that pushes you out of your comfort zone. I'll see you guys back here on Wednesday. Take care.